Hey, now holy sh**, we're getting them good, bro.
You want to read the email?
Yep.
We have strong evidence to suggest that it was the subject that wrote it. But
I do think that the government is trying to assess whether it's China or non-human.
Hi guys, Jimmy here from the UAP Files. So I'm sat there on the sofa about to watch TV, and then a notification comes up on my phone. Hey dude, have you seen this? And then another one. And then I go into my DMs and I've got multiple links to the Shawn Ryan Show. Okay, it's pretty explosive. It's a big story. Everybody's talking about it, and I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about it, or at least mention it and cover it. So first of all, let's jump into the clip. And I'm only going to play you a short clip because I don't want to get a copyright strike and have to take it all down. So let's jump in.
This email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes, he says drones, is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPSEN, that's Operations Center, our OPSEN location for this activity is in the box below.
So pause it there for a second. OPSEN is Operational Center, Operations Center, which is the location where this is all happening from. He's given the coordinates in the box below. This is the box below. Essentially, it comes back to Area 51, not too far from Papoose Lake, which we've heard an awful lot about. Area 51. Anyone interested in ufology, dating back to Bob Lazar days when we thought this was related to UFOs and UAP, and it may well have done back in those days, but also experimental technology, B-2 bomber, all that sort of stuff. Very interesting that he's given these coordinates. It very much links it back to the UFO, UAP, non-human intelligence. But anyway, that's what that connection is, OPSEN. So we'll get back into it.
China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast.
Now, this is really interesting because he's talking about the East Coast. He's talking about the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic is, pretty close to Atlantic City, pretty close to New Jersey. We're getting lots of reports in from New Jersey and stuff. I recently posted a couple of videos, in fact, from off the coast of New Jersey or near to Atlantic City. One was from a YouTube. I'll play that quick clip for you now.
That's exactly what they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Got one for 5 over there. 6 beyond that.
an A, bro.
8. Now holy sh**, we're getting them good, bro. You got 5 in a row?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
That is gnarly. And they're headed in.
Yeah,
they're all headed inland. Oh yeah.
let me spin around, go down C, and it'll be locked on.
10-4. Man, this is wild.
And then we've got this one here, which is December 21st, 2024, Atlantic City. Credit to New Fork, NUFORC. The witness account was one witness told New Fork that they had documented a strange flying saucer that appeared to shake and change shape, but always returning to its original shape, heading inland from Atlantic City. And of course, we've got all of the reports of the drones all over New Jersey, and more so than anywhere else at the moment. Still happening, apparently, who knows? So there's that connection there, and it's very interesting when we start to hear that things are coming in off the Atlantic. So the big question is, firstly, is this really the manifesto written by Matthew Livelsberger, who is an active military personnel who holds TSSCI, which is top secret, compartmentalized information, top secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information, TSSCI, holder of this high level clearance? Because this is a big deal. This is not just some person. This is somebody who's an active member of the military who holds a top secret clearance. I think it's safe to say it probably is, and here's why.
So in terms of the so-called manifesto that's circulating online, we have strong evidence to suggest that it was the subject that wrote it, but we haven't conclusively proven that yet. And that evidence relates to other evidence that we're finding that we're able to compare that lead us to believe it was in fact him who sent it.
So who is Matthew Livelsberger? Well, if we look at his LinkedIn, we can see that he's been full-time in the US Army for 19 years. Remote autonomous systems manager, special forces operations manager, Team 18Z, all kinds of links to the intelligence services, special ops. If we look at his skills, USAS solutions, design, integration, assembly, piloting, programming, engineering, loitering, munitions, unmanned systems, interesting, robotics, FPV assembly, data flight, unmanned ground vehicles. Okay, so I think it's fair to say that his LinkedIn shows him as involved in intel services and pretty impressive in terms of credibility. What does he say specifically about UAP or drones?
What we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes. He says drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPCEN, that's Operations Center, our OPCEN location for this activity is in the box below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity recently has picked up. As of now, it is just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they used the balloon for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comms system. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. The so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned aircraft. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they wanted. It's checkmate. U.S. government needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere in the East Coast.
Okay, so what do we know about Chinese drones? We know that they have been heavily involved in developing technology. We know that DJI is a Chinese company. We know that we're in a bit of an arms race between China, Russia, and us. And I say us as if we're American. I'm not British. But we know that that's something that's happening for military purposes, to be the best and have the best tech. That's always been the case. More recently, we know that China have put out information intentionally to show us that they have this cool new jet that's better than anything that we've got. And arguably, it is pretty impressive stuff. They're not hiding the fact that they're also working on unmanned vehicles, and they've put out footage of those over the last couple of years, showcased them at conferences and technology events in China. Again, not a secret. And you can imagine if they're showing us this publicly, that they've probably got some other stuff behind the scenes that's pretty high level, high tech, advanced stuff as well. Okay, so we're getting conflicting information from our politicians and from the Pentagon and the White House. We're being told this is not the drone sightings that we're seeing over Langley Air Force Base and over New Jersey, for example, aren't foreign adversaries. They're not our tech. They're not contractors. So what are they? We're also seeing these objects at RAF Lakenheath and other bases in the UK. The argument that this is a submarine somewhere, outside of the States, but also a submarine in the UK as well, flying drones, releasing drones and flying them over the south of England. It's very strange and it's conflicting. Here is a recent interview conducted by congressional reporter Matt Laslow. He's awesome. He's been on the podcast. Go check him out. Give him a sub if you can. He's talking to a congressman about the drones and the potential of China. So check that out.
Or how frustrating is it?
So it's actually, this is the thing. I do think that the government is trying to assess whether it's China or non-human. I think that's really the underlying question. Because if it's China, it's bad because they have technology that we don't understand, and they have advancements that we don't have, which is not good. If it's non-human, then, well, we don't know why they're here. So, both of those deserve additional resources to figure out the answer to.
And that's right. The way you're framing it is kind of simple, not simplistic, but simple. Do you think that's an easy case to make to the incoming Trump administration? Like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take. It doesn't take. This is not an Elon Musk task. This is a task that can be assigned to a lot of people. But this is the thing. The patterns in sightings can easily be predicted, and I actually think that there's a correlation between military training, military activities in the U.S. and these sightings. So it would not be difficult to figure out if it's China, because if it is indeed China, they're using their technology to assess our military capacity, and we can create the systems through which they would then respond, and we'll be like, okay, it's China.
Yeah.
Or maybe they don't take the bait and...
Yeah.
Of course, there are some conspiracies over whether or not the vehicle was on full self-driving and the CIA had just popped him in there and he was going to go to Mexico and whistleblow. We know that Tesla had come out, some engineers had come out and removed the memory card from the vehicle and shown that it's not been on full self-driving. They've got footage of him at fueling stations charging up. I think it's unlikely, but who knows? Does it match that narrative that the CIA or the spooks are trying to show an incoming Trump administration, that actually, rather than spending less money and downsizing and changing all the leadership, really look at what China's got, we need to catch up. So maybe we need to spend more money and not get rid of leadership, because that leadership understands the problem. We've been telling you this for ages, and look, now we've got proof. Who knows? Who knows? We're all speculating. Ultimately, it's a really sad case where someone's died and there's a family that are clearly grieving. So I'm not going to speculate any more than that. What I would say is there is no doubt that we have got weird orb-like objects in the sky that don't have any kind of a mechanical feel to them. There's also weird drones, there's also misidentified aircraft, and everything in between. And the more people in New Jersey and Lakenheath and other places like around Air Force bases in the US, because there's lots of them where these drones are being reported, people are going to be looking up naturally when it's in the press. They're going to be outside when they would normally look down at their phone. They might spend a minute or two looking up into the sky. And when they do that, they're going to see more. So yes, we're going to have more reports of everything from drones to aeroplanes to orbs to shooting stars to misidentified satellites and planes, satellites and planets. And we're going to get all of that thrown in the mix, and it's going to be really muddy. It doesn't take us away from the reality that there's something weird up there in the sky, something not mechanical, but there may also be some weird drones. There's a lot going on, and we'll try to cover the story in an ethical way as much as possible. But that's what we've got at the moment. It's a fascinating story, and the link to UAP, when this case came out, I just thought this is going to be huge and it's going to be in the press, and I need to cover it somehow, but I want to cover it in an ethical way that meets our manifesto, our own manifesto, our mission of values, our mission statement, which essentially says to bring the subject of UFO, UAP, non-human intelligence to the mainstream and get people talking about it, providing them with the information as we know it without telling people, throwing it down their throat, this is what's happening, I'm the authority and I'm going to tell you. Because ultimately, we're all learning ourselves as individuals, we're all finding those pieces of the puzzle and putting them together. Who knows what's happening? Who knows? I certainly don't, but I really want to find out. It's a fascinating case. Anyway, that's it. Until the next one, take care of yourselves, guys, and we'll see you soon.